welcome to the Sheila C Hill Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat just for a little while. Listen, the Sheila C Hill Show is the ultimate go-to podcast for ambitious individuals who want to live a more fulfilling life and successful life. Listen, this show, you're going to get valuable insights and insightful tips and expert tips and inspiring stories. We're going to get it all here. And it's going to help you improve your lifestyle, grow your business, or even enhance your emotional well-being. If you are new to the station, I just want to say thank you for stopping by. Hello, hola, bonjour. ¿Cómo está? Ni hao, and what's going on, my people? So glad that you're here today. Now, we bring the best guest in the land. I tell you that all the time. Listen, we do have a special guest with us today. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow the Sheila C Hill Show and join our like-minded community of thrivers. I call it Sheila's Thrive Tribe, baby. That's what we do over here. We thrive. Now, today, our guest is the owner of New Beginning Healthcare, a transitional housing program and home agency, care agency. She's a singer. I knew that. She's a singer and she is a beautiful spirit inside and out. And she's a motivational speaker as well. Listen, she does a lot of things, but I'm going to bring her to the stage and we're going to welcome Dr. Claudia Elliott. Yes.
Hello,
beautiful. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited that you're here. Listen, we're going to get right into it. Tell the audience who you are and what's your story.
I am Dr. Claudia Elliott, born, raised right in Harnett County, in Bun Level, as a matter of fact. I've been in Fuquay Arena in Wake County for about 19 years. So basically, I started a transitional housing program for women after it started off with just women after coming out of an abusive relationship myself. And so it just kind of led me in that field of, kind of needing somewhere safe. I could have went to my parents, but, sometimes you become an adult and you want to do things on your own. And I didn't realize how many women were suffering the same things that I was suffering and having to keep silent about it. So that's what motivated me to start doing what I do. And it just kept growing, and growing.
Yes, I love it. It's all about the growing, right? Okay, wait a minute. All right, so you started this business based off of your need for what you needed. Mm-hmm. So you said, hey, well, if I need it, other people need it as well. Right. All right. So where did the $60 come in? How did you start this with $60 and now it's $1 million company? Let's talk about that. Yes.
Absolutely. So what happened was back then, whenever I filed my paperwork with the state, all I had was the $60 to file my paperwork. I didn't have any grants. I didn't have anything. As a matter of fact, I had someone that was supposedly writing a grant for me that I paid to write the grant with monies that I really didn't even have. That he never wrote the grant. Let's put it that way. So I had to depend completely upon my faith and the vision that God had given to me and just trust him, and he did the rest.
Come on now. Come on, Jesus.
Yeah, so
come through, Jesus.
Yeah, he
I love it.
Paved the way. I tell that everywhere I go, it was him that did it, because in the end, I didn't even need a grant writer. So, a lot of people think because of what they're doing, hey, I got to have a grant writer because I want to do this, I want to do that. And it is something for the people. It's helping the community. But at the same time, there are people and places things that's been in place for so many years that the grant is for someone doing what you're doing, what I'm doing. So they have to give it to me or you or someone that's doing what I'm doing. So I didn't need anyone to write the grant. It was already there for me.
Won't he do it? I love it. I
Won't he
love
do
it.
it?
Because a lot of times when he gives you the vision, it's just like start moving. But sometimes when we think it should go away and what we know with our smart selves,
Mm-hmm.
you don't even need that. Why are you wasting your time with someone?
Exactly.
I got things already ready for you. See, that's a lesson right there by itself, okay?
Yeah, I had to trust him because I mean, I'll tell you, I had many days where I said, okay, God, if it's meant for me to do this, I really didn't have anything. I have myself, I'm giving my time, my heart is into it. I understand, I can relate to them. And, I was coming out of Fuquay right there. If anybody is familiar with the Littleton, County area, I was at the McDonald's at that light right there where the Bojangles, all of that is that intersection there. And there was a lady, it was other cars there, but I stopped in the line of traffic and she walked up to my window and she said, "Can you help me?" She was like, I need help. I'm being abused. I got to get out of this. And I had just prayed before I got in my truck headed that way. I'm saying, God, if this is you, because I don't have any money. I don't have anything, but then it was someone else that needed my help that stood there. And it was just confirmation. You have to keep doing what I told you to do. And it just led to other doors began to open because he was making ways, because you have to do this. And it just, like I said, it kept growing.
That is a blessing. That is so wonderful. So, what do you see with the most challenges that people have when they're either homeless or in an abusive situation to find that stable housing?
Well, the thing is, first of all, most of them have either been hurt by it, and then sometimes it's immediate family. And then whenever they go somewhere to try to find housing or, come out of an abusive relationship, they have trust issues. So, they come to me, and it's a lot of times it's hard for them to even trust me. How do I know you're not going to do me like this person just did me? So it's things that they have to go through. So a lot of times they need therapy because it does something to them mentally, and that is a challenge. They run. So now that I've provided you with stable housing, you don't stay there because now mentally you're not stable enough to just be still. So it makes them run from one situation. They'll leave North Carolina and go to another state and be homeless there.
Wow.
But it's because of things that they've gone through, and I just try to have patience with them. Sometimes they leave and they'll call me. I got one now that's calling me now. Hey, I left an abusive relationship. You told me not to go back. I went back. A lot of things have happened. Can I please come back? And what we're doing, we're standing with our arms open. Come back. It's okay.
Wow.
I've been there, done that. So I can relate to that. But still, that's a challenge for them, trusting someone, trying to move from what I've been used to and going to something different.
Wow. That is a blessing that you have that. And, you welcome them with open arms, because a lot of times I've heard of agencies or homes that say, once you leave, it's over. No,
Mm-hmm.
because we told you so. But,
Mm-hmm.
we're human. And if you're not getting the work within themselves and getting that therapy, that mindset is still the same. So they feel
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I don't have a choice. So kudos to you. That is wonderful. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with your company, your overall mission, what would you describe your overall mission for your company?
Helping people put their lives back together, giving them a second chance. I also work with individuals that have, what we call a background. where they have been in some type of, you know, trouble with the law. It might be something minor, but we have something that they can do, because a lot of times if they don't have income, how can they pay rent? So if we give them a job and say, hey, now you have something that you didn't have. You have the money and the means to pay and keep a roof over your head, to take care of your children. So we are just on a mission to change lives, to help them put their lives back together again.
Wow, that's a blessing. So, okay, so with your transitional homes and your home agency,
Mhm.
which came first? What did you do first?
So of course, the transitional, I was going to get into that. The
Okay.
transitional houses came first. And I started getting, I had houses that were empty. And first it was women with children, so, or
Okay.
single females with children. So I'm taking them in. And then I started getting calls with men. Sometimes they will be in bad situations and they had small children, or they were single and had things going on and they were trying. So you know I had to open it up to men also. After I opened it up to men, then I started getting calls from adult protective services, with a senior citizen, with someone that had a disability. Well, okay, they, or a hospital that might call and say, hey, I have this individual that they were homeless living in the park. They had to have a surgery. We cannot discharge them back into the park. Do you have a room? Do you have a bed? They don't have any income. They don't have, anything. So they were in the process of trying to get insurance, trying to get this, just so many different resources, things for this individual or different individuals. So of course I would take them in, provide housing for them. But now that they're in my home, they're in there, can't get up to get fix themselves a meal. They can't do certain things. They can't run errands. They couldn't get up and make their bed. They couldn't do things like that. And so for the longest, I was trying to contact home care agencies or people that I knew in the community that owned a home care agency, and I had the hardest time. Now, most people know in that business, if someone is coming to you with 20 patients, that everything is already done, that would have been a huge increase, a huge blessing for someone that's in that field. I went to, different agencies and I'm saying, hey, I got these patients. Can you offer them services? We're getting things in place, or they got Medicaid, and or we have the insurance going now. Can you help them? Um, couldn't get anyone to do it. And in talking to an older lady that I looked up to, she said, well, you're smart enough to do it yourself. She said, maybe God wants you to do it. So I said, well, I'm into the housing side. I'm not really into, home care. That's not my thing. But okay, I submitted, I sat
Mhm.
down, did everything on my own. I, with God's help, I owe him all the glory for it, because he was just leading and guiding me, and I was just following his lead. And then I began to, get approvals, everything that I was submitting. I'm like, okay, this is my first time doing this. I don't know. What do I put in for this? What do I need to put here? I don't know, but I'm just, reading, doing my research and getting everything done. And then we got licensed. Once we got licensed, the purpose of me getting licensed was the population that I was helping. It was also to give back to the houses that we were paying light bills, where some places wouldn't take someone that didn't have income. We took them without income. We did the home care services before we got the approval to do the home care services. We weren't charging anybody. We was just doing it from the kindness of our heart. So I felt like, okay, you've done all this stuff for free. Now we're going to turn around and give you double, And so after that was done, it was like the windows of heaven open. Most agencies say, how are you getting these patients? Other, people that were in places, um, It might have not been a referral of someone that was homeless, but doctors found out what we were doing. Doctors' offices, hey, they were putting referrals in. Send them to New Beginning. Send this patient to New Beginning. And I would go out to the house. I would go out and talk to them, and they would say, um, the referral came from a doctor, and I'm like, who is this doctor? I don't even know. And they, would say, your agency came highly recommended. We went through this, and then the VA, the Veterans Administration, had told us that they were not even accepting any more home care agencies. They were full. We're not even accepting vendors at this time. But I had housed a homeless veteran and took care of that homeless veteran without pay. And the head that's over that program, he said, I'm going to bring you in through the back door. So we're going to license and give New Beginning a contract. We're going to give you all a contract. And that contract is not just for North Carolina. It's not just for Wake County. It's for North Carolina. It's for the United States. So if you got a veteran, if you got someone working over here, you can service that veteran, because now you're a vendor for the Veterans Administration. So now I'm seeing, everything that I was doing for years, while I'm searching around trying to find a grant. Remember, I'm working off that $60 with my paperwork filed to Secretary of the State. But when God says something, he said it, and that settles it. So if he say, hey, open up the, and then, with that, I'm saying I only had $60. So now I'm seeing something. I was taking little monies that I was doing, the hospital might say, well, we're going to give you this amount of money to try to care, for the needs of this individual for X amount of days until, their disability check kicks in, because they don't have any money. They got to eat, until their food benefits kick in. We're going to do this for them. Well, I would get that, do what I had to do, budget well, go make offers on a house. And I was getting houses for $800. So now,
What?
I'm bidding and I'm getting them. Everything approved, approved, approved. So when God says it, I'm like, okay, I hear you. And so I will walk in, and land might be appraised, because I purchased some land. They might have it appraised, I mean, way beyond what I could even imagine, But the sellers, I've had realtors say, the sellers want to meet them. They want to meet us. And the realtor would tell me that, and I'm thinking, this is unusual, But I go in, pray first, always, and go in and make an offer, and they always accept my offer. And I knew it was nobody but God, but it was just like doors on top of doors, opening, 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 and I'm just walking through. I remained humble, and just walked through those doors, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the same single females, that some of them had CPS cases where they didn't have a job. We were able to give them a job. Now they're working as the home care aide, going in, remember them same ladies were doing it for free, because now I got to get up and do something positive. So the ones that needed the services before we had things done, we're just going in there doing it, because I couldn't find an agency.
Oh my goodness.
I was looking for someone. I didn't want to do that part. I just wanted to stick with the transitional housing. But it took that one person that told me, maybe God is saying, you do it. You open the home care agency. You're smart enough to do it. You put the paperwork in. You trust God, and you do what he told you to do. And that's exactly what I did. And that opened up more doors, because now I'm able to say, okay, when they call and say this person don't have income, and they don't know when they're going to get approved. Hey, we just started the paperwork for their disability application. And most people know it is a process, but we were not turning them down. We were saying, hey, come on, let them come on in, and at least have a place. But then the other side of it was making it possible to do that. The other side. So I didn't have to stand and say, hey, I'm doing this drive. Can you donate? Can you give me $10? Can you give me? I didn't have to do any of that because he made a way. I'm going to give you what you need. All the light, and those light bills sometimes in those houses, $7, $8, $9, $1,000 because it's other people in there. They have different days that they're washing their clothes, but still at the same time, it's okay because he's going to make a way. You don't have to have, all of these other things. And I kept it private. I did what he told me to do. I didn't go through. I went to Wake County when I first started. And I said, okay, I got a 4-bedroom house. I wanted to put single females in. And I went there and I was trying to do XYZ because I'm thinking, I got to go through the state to do all of this. Then I found out, guess what? You really don't. If you have a house and you want to help somebody, there is no law saying you cannot help someone. If you want to take someone, and fix them a hot meal, you don't have to have permission to fix them a hot meal. That's your money. That's basically, that's your money. You bid $800. You bid $1,000 on that house. That is your house. You can do what you want to do in that house because you own it. The state didn't give you that $1,000. That was your money. So that's your house.
So when you have the state in it, is the state, that means you have to follow their rules and jump through their hoops?
Pretty much. Okay. And you'll be looking into getting, state funds, trying to get state funds wherever they are. But a lot of times it's hard to get those things, and you still have to jump through all of those hoops. They still have to come in and do all these inspections, and let's make sure this is this, let's make sure that is that. Now, I do have a contract with Wake County. I do have contracts with Harnett County. They do send me referrals. They come in and they do inspect, and what they're looking for is make sure you got electricity, make sure you got running water. They look for things like that. Now, whoever is in that bed, it is not my responsibility to clean up behind that person. You're 25, you better get up and clean up behind yourself. So if they come in there, no, I'm not the one looking bad as you. You better clean up. I provided you somewhere to live.
Yeah.
But still, I work with them. Because, again, remember where they're coming from. Some of them don't know any better.
Right.
But our clean is definitely not their clean. And then, once they learn and when they move from a room to an apartment, they're ready for that. So
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. I mean, listen, my mind is like blown just to see the timeline and how everything is working like a puzzle piece. Okay, you do this and then this happened and you're serving the people and then you're providing jobs for them. This is mind-boggling, like for real. Listen, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to be right back to get more into this because let me tell you, my mind is really blown right now. But see, I told y'all we bring the best guests in the land.
Thanks to her, my podcast.
We got it. Reaching 350 million. They tuning in.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Join the She Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com. esteemedtrucking.com for sponsoring this episode where we have our special guest, Dr. Claudia Elliott, where she is the owner of New Beginning Healthcare Transitional Housing Program and Home Care Agency. Listen, we're so excited. Just to recap, it will blow your mind. The recap is she started something that was in her heart that God told her to do. She started the transition, serving the community with no money, no state money, no money, just serving the community because she had a need and she started serving the community. And then from there, it transitioned over to home health where she's serving the people that's in the transitional home and allowing the people that's in the transitional home to have a job. Like, what? You can't make this stuff up. Just blessing after blessing this. She's buying homes for $800 and $1,000. Come on, y'all. Can we say blessed by the best? We're going to welcome Dr. Claudia back to the stage. Listen, blessed beyond comparisons. This is a wonderful testimony, story, and my God, it's amazing. All right, let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about the mindset of an entrepreneur getting to this point where you are. What type of mindset did you have to get to this point?
Definitely determination. Determination. But I would like to say this: when God is in it, a lot of things would just fly right over. When He's in it, like I said, approval. I knew I was in the right place. So I had to have that mindset to be determined to stay the course, number one, no matter what came. Again, now I'm dealing with individuals that, again, they're coming out of abusive relationships. Some of them grew up in abusive homes. So that's all they know. One girl told me she hadn't been to church since she was 9 years old. She was there almost 40 years old. Didn't know Jesus, had been to prison. You have to have the mindset to deal with things like that. So I had to be in the right place myself where I'm not looking down on anyone and I'm not judging anyone, because definitely they were different. They were definitely different.
Most definitely. So with that, having that mindset to serve, number one, and you have to have a heart for the people. And I can tell that you have the heart because you served with nothing, basically. $60 and just starting is just amazing, because a lot of people get into it for the money. But I always hear, people say, when you do something that God ordains you to do that from the heart. The money will come.
The money will come.
The money will come.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, if their heart, and I say it all the time because people ask me about it, but if their heart is not in it, they wouldn't last. They wouldn't last because, it's not a 9 to 5 or 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday job.
Right.
It's 24/7. It's 24/7. I have someone on a bus headed to me from Virginia right now, that reached out to me last night, trying to get out of an abusive relationship. Yes. So, but if they're 9 to 5, if their phone rings at 5:30, they're not going to answer it. They're not going to answer it, even if someone is desperately in need. And I've gotten up out of my bed, I've got up out of my bed and went, wherever looking for them. Okay, I'm on the way, but everybody won't do that. So I say to anyone, it's room, because sometimes I can't take everybody and I wished I could. But if it was someone else that was doing something similar that say, hey, I can, I got her, send her over here, it would be great. But at the same time, I don't want them to feel like, okay, it's just going to be, them moving in and everything is good. All kind of things happen, with that. So they have to have the heart for it.
Most definitely.
And a lot of it has to come from our Heavenly Father. Because if he wasn't leading and guiding me, I would probably give up on some of them too soon. When they come in and they say, well, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and I say, well, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate this today. It's too many that's in line that need to come in here and you're disrupting the house. But then
Yes.
some of those that I had a little bit more patience with, I said, you know what? We're going to church Sunday and we're going to pray, or I'll stand back from the situation. Let somebody else that work for me go over there, because they're not going to put them out. They're just going to
Okay.
go over there and try to calm things down and give me time to give them another chance, as we will want our Heavenly Father to do for us. And some of those turned out to be wonderful mothers, been on the same jobs, working, was able to get houses built from the ground up, worked on their credit. We have some success stories. Facebook don't show all of it, but we do, and it was
Yes.
some of those I've had, CPS workers that say, this individual never did this good. We've been with this case since these children were little. One of the children have graduated from high school now. The other one, I think she's almost about to graduate. And I think when we got them, they was like 5 and maybe 10, or 5 and 8 or 9, something like that age. But they're grown girls now. And the mom ended up, taking care of herself. She ended up getting married. Her and her husband got them a house built. He was also in our program, working every day, coming to church every Sunday. I mean, it is amazing what God can do. And I was about to call her worker. And say, this ain't going to work for her.
Yeah.
But she got up and she was in tears. I told her, I said, look, it's 10 o'clock. You have not fed these kids. They have not had their breakfast. You're still in bed. You can't stay in bed all day. She got up, cooked for them kids. She said it won't 30 minutes later, her CPS worker come knocking on the door, come to do a check. But she had got up because I came there, cleaned up her house, because I had put her in one of my apartments. She cleaned up her house, got up and fed her babies, and looked up, and CPS was on the other side of the door knocking to come in. But they closed her case.
Wow.
They ended up closing her case. I mean, it's stories that, but to see those kids, they wanted to be, it almost made me want to cry now. But to see those kids want to be with their mom, we're going to get up because we're with our mother. We're going to clean up this apartment. They were jumping in. And thank God, by the grace of God, we didn't give up on her. And she's one of the best that we had come through. She got up that day. I mean, it's just what we see happen. But the person that is working and leading them, they have to have a heart for it. Because if they don't, you can get in self and get big-headed. Like, well, I ain't never been there. I've never, this. Or how can you deal with that? Because I've been asked that question by some of the ladies. How can you hear these stories or deal with this every day? And I say, well, sometimes it make you realize just how blessed you are.
True.
Because I was sheltered, and I didn't get to do a lot of things. And one time I was like, I don't know why, but I wish I could have, been able to go here or go there, but I had to go to church, because my grandma was the pastor. You know what I mean?
Listen, that's a whole nother episode.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But but look at what I was saved from. Look at what, I was sheltered from those things because it could have been me. But that's see, where another person might have been like big-headed, I was saying, God, thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you, Jesus. I could have been on drugs. Wait a minute. It could have been my mama, that did that to us. But okay, I went to church every Sunday. We had prayer meeting. We was there. I mean, it's okay. But I'm looking at them, like it could have been me. But on the other side, I'm thanking God, but everybody can't deal with that. everyone can't, they'll even say,
Right.
well, I'm getting this check, I'm getting your money or whatever. You go in here and you do whatever and have the nastiest attitude. I said, no, 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 no. No, I try to be, but you have to
Wow.
be led by God, and you have to know when enough is enough too. I will add that, because
That's
some
true. That's true. You
I
gotta know where to draw the line. Yes.
right. I was, some people my staff would say they're taking advantage of her because she have a kind heart. And they'll keep doing it. But I'll say, no, 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 no. Hold on, wait a minute. Because I didn't want to move too soon. Let me make sure. Let me ask God before I
Yeah.
say, look, it might be another place down the road around the corner that can help you. But this room right here, this ain't the place for you. So I had to know when enough is enough and when I had to step in and let go. And I had to dismiss some people.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I had to. And that was
Yeah.
one of the hardest things to do. Some left me and I tried to stop them from leaving. And they left, and some of them are deceased. That was another part
Oh,
of it. They
okay.
went and they never, as I had one, and you have to pray because you do get attached. And I had
Yes.
one, recently, she left me, but thinking, her story, being separated from your kids, and you get the opportunity. I'm off probation now. So now I'm free to move closer to my kids. I want to be closer to my kids. But sometimes they have resentment. So you
Mm,
have to, gradually, this is me telling her slowly, go
okay.
the weekends, stay here, give the children a chance. She didn't do that. She wanted to go, and it wasn't what she thought. And it tore up so bad she had a heart attack and passed away, 41 years old. that
What?
that happened. And a tear, and I'm trying to keep from crying
Oh
because
my
she
gosh.
reached out to me about a week before and she said, I'm just so hurt. I'm so hurt. And she said, thank you for everything that you did for me. Thank you for everything. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for loving me. She said, but I'm tired. And I told her same thing I tell a lot of them. Well, the door is open. You can come
Okay.
back. I said, come back. It's what I was trying to get her to do. But that side of her, the mother, because she still was a mother,
Yeah.
she wanted to at least, even though she didn't have physical custody of her kids, she was close enough where she could see them,
Okay.
possibly. So she wanted to be closer. And,
Oh,
here was about 3 or 4 hour drive. So she didn't want to be away from them no longer, which I understood that. But then
right.
the
Yeah.
people that had them they just, and it was family. Sometimes it be that way, but
Yeah.
we have to deal with a lot because now, someone reached out to me and was like, she passed away. And I'm like, what? I was just talking to her. I
Wow.
told her to come back. So
Yeah.
those things like that happen. They'll leave us and
Yeah.
they would know. I had another one. She was with me for about 5 years. And I told her, she was in the park in Raleigh. And I said, as long as you stay with me, you'll never be homeless again. She didn't
Mm,
have any income. She said, they won't give me my disability. But she was just so sweet. I said, well,
yeah.
it don't matter. You can still stay in the house. And, she decided she wanted to go to a rooming house where, they were going to charge her. And she had already told me, she said, if I get back out here in these streets, she said, Miss Elliott, I don't think I'm going to make it. And she left, I think, on a Friday. And I think before the next Friday, she had passed away.
Oh
Yep.
my.
So, and that tore me when I say that, because I had really got attached to her. So that
Oh,
just, it was devastating. So things like that happen, it's something that I want to tell people when you get into
yeah.
this field, it's a lot that comes with it because that is that side of it.
So
And it's
so
just,
how do you have self-care for yourself? For entrepreneurs, because we're so into what we're doing, When do you take a break for yourself?
I'm always traveling. A lot of times, if I go, even if it's a speaking engagement, if I'm going into, another state, another country, I do have some downtime for myself. And a lot of times that's when I take that time where I should be resting, but I'm coming up with another idea, another piece to make new beginning better.
Okay.
So, but because I love what I do, I have a passion for it. I'm working, but I'm not working.
Okay.
My mom says it to me all the time because when we go on trips, a lot of times my mom is with me and she will say, "Don't you ever get time off?" Or she want me to put the phone down. And I'd say to her, "Well, didn't you work for 30 some years?" You work. So it ain't much she can say after that, but she's right. And others are right. But at the same time, I love what I do. If I'm gone, I'll be gone. I've been out of the country, I think 4 times this year. And I've been
Oh,
all
wow.
over the United States this year. And next month I'm going out of the country again.
Okay.
And I have several trips planned all the way up until December where I'll
Okay.
be traveling. And I get, like I said, a little bit of time for me and my children and my family.
Okay.
But it's ministry and it never ends. It never ends because if
Right.
it's not the transitional housing, it's the home care patients, but they become like family too. And all of that, a lot of times when I get the referrals, I'm not holding up a sign saying I need the ones that don't have family, don't have this, don't have that. But those are the ones that I keep getting connected to.
So, what would you tell someone who wants to start a home health agency, home care agency, or transition a home? What would you tell them?
Do your research. Do your research and make sure that it's something that you definitely want to do. Make sure that you have that passion for helping people, because if you don't have that, and it's okay. I have one of my mom's sister, she made it clear that because she asked me for a job a few weeks ago and she said she thought about it. She everybody else have that, where they have the patience for being a caretaker or helping someone. She thought, well, maybe I could do that because she could get some good hours working for me. But then she thought about it, maybe that is not for me. She didn't think she could do it, but she was honest.
Okay.
So everybody can't do it, so
Okay.
they need to make sure, because your phone is more than likely is going to ring after your what you call your business hours. You'll get a phone call.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and a lot of times you just hear people look at the dollar amount. It's really good money, but the way you're saying it, you don't clock in, you don't clock out. It's just a
Right.
running total
Right.
because but it's good to have people in place. So when you do go off to another country, traveling, it's taken care of. So
Right.
setting your business up where other people, you can delegate people to run the
Right.
business, that means a lot because you got to
Yeah.
trust people to do that. Most
Right. Right.
definitely.
Yeah. And
So
sometimes they
go ahead.
still would demand. Sometimes they are demanding, and sometimes they will say, "No, I want to speak to Dr. Elliott." So they'll call my call center because I have a call center. The girls work in Raleigh taking my phone calls. And so,
Okay.
they'll call the call center and demand, and sometimes I'm doing something. So I'm busy. And they'll call and say, I know we're supposed to call Wanda first. I know, but they specifically said, get Dr. Elliott on the phone.
I love it. I
So,
love it. Okay, so if you could go back to when you was 13, 16 years old, if you can go back in time, what will you tell your teenage self?
listen to God. from the start. From the start. Keep your eyes on him and not man. That's what I would tell myself. Because I feel like I know it's ordained for me to do what I'm doing.
Okay.
But I feel like I was delayed. But it wasn't God, it was me. Because if I would have been following him, I would have been much further. So now I feel like I'm working, trying to get caught up where I should have been 20 years ago, to be honest. Yes.
Wow. Okay, you do so much, and kudos to you. I mean, it's very inspiring. Do you have something do you have a course? Do you have a mentorship? Do you teach people, train them what you do?
I did. I started doing some coaching. So, I am a certified life coach and, business coach. So I do that, if it's someone that is looking to start a home care agency or any business, it don't have to be a home care agency. A lot of information and resources that I have, it might even be something similar to mine or something that I thought about doing. Some things fall in my lap. I'm just going to be honest with you. And it might be something that, I just don't have time to do. But somebody else may, want to do that. So we do offer, like some trainings and coaching on things like that.
Wow. Drop it in your lap. I call that favor, honey. That's the favor of God.
It is. It really is.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I'm not even looking for it, and I'll get like an email, I was servicing a patient, and I was servicing her for almost maybe 8 months. And we hadn't been reimbursed, and I got a call, once they found out what we were doing from Blue Cross. And Blue Cross was like, we want to make New Beginning one of our providers. I didn't ask Blue Cross to do any of that. So, now Blue Cross Blue Shield could send us referrals. But, that all came about when they were trying to figure out what was going on with this particular lady. And, her services didn't have anything to do with Blue Cross, but they were amazed. Wait, this agency was servicing this lady for this long, for almost a year? We need them to be one of our providers. So I didn't have to research what paperwork to send. They sent me me XYZ. We're going to go ahead and make you one of our providers. So that happened. Things like that happen. So
that's huge.
And then
that is huge.
I get calls all the time, and I answer like, New Beginning, Dr. Elliott, well, this patient asked if you requested New Beginning to take them to their doctor appointment. So then the insurance companies credentialed us that if I transport someone, they'll reimburse me for it.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to be driving nobody around.
Oh my goodness.
But things like that, you know what I mean? And I get calls constantly.
So then you can start a non-emergency transportation company.
Absolutely. We're licensed to do that.
One-stop shop.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Listen, I am so inspired. I know my audience is inspired. Listen, I'm so excited that you're here today. Wow. Okay. So how can someone get in contact with you?
Okay. So always through social media. Now I'm normally somewhere by my phone because I have two of them. I have two cell phones. But they can always look me up. Dr. Claudia Elliott, Dr. Claudia McNeil Elliott on Facebook. Also Claudia Elliott Ministries, Claudia McNeil Elliott Ministries page. New Beginning Healthcare has a page. I get messages on all three of those pages. I do have employees that kind of monitor. They monitor the New Beginning page, but my ministry page and my personal page, that comes directly to me. I get people all the time that ask me, how do I can I call someone? I have a call center also. And that number, I'll give that number out, is 919-285-2350. I was missing calls because my phone was ringing. I have two phones, but my phone was ringing so
Okay.
much. Until I had to get, I might have a patient, I might have a doctor. Once I started doing that, it may have been a social worker that had an urgent need. So I needed someone in place to take those calls. So I had to open a New Beginning Healthcare call center in Raleigh, where they are there from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. daily to answer those calls for me.
I'm
And just
amazed.
route them in
I'm
the right
amazed.
place. But they can $60 and the favor of God.
Come on now. Come on.
Faith.
60. You can't
That's
mess with
all
that.
I had. That's literally all I had.
Wow. So inspiring. I am so honored to have you here today. Listen, before we go, what is something inspirational or anything advice that you want to give our guests before we leave today?
You can do anything through Christ that strengthens you. I don't care what the situation looked like, even if you only have $30. If he gave you a vision, it will come to pass. But you have to follow his lead. You have to walk behind him, keep your eyes on him and no one else. But if he said it, it's going to come to pass.
Come on now. Pass the collection plate. Yes, I love it.
Amen.
I love it. Maybe next time you can come, you can sing for us because,
Yeah.
I heard you can blow. That would be wonderful.
Yeah,
Oh, my
well,
goodness.
that's what they had us doing. You know what I mean?
I know
didn't
what
have
you
a
mean.
choice. I say that now. I say that now because that's what I was doing at an early age. I was speaking the other night and I said, I remember, my grandmother making me dresses, or I would have a new dress and shoes. I'm singing in somebody's wedding. What am I doing?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was doing weddings. I was so young.
What?
Here's the song on a tape recorder. You got to learn this song for whoever's wedding. So they were doing me like that. So now I'm doing the same to my daughter. I make her sing and play the piano.
I saw a Facebook post where she was on the piano.
She
Way
played the
to
piano. I'm
go.
like, hey, it worked for me. It
Hey,
worked,
train up a child. That's the way to do
it
it.
worked for me. And it opened doors
Wow.
because now I'm able to go and talk about, my business. I'm talking about different things, and I'm not afraid to, speak to millions of people in a
Yes.
room or thousands of people in a room. And I feel like it's my training because I was everywhere singing. I mean, everywhere. It didn't matter. They were seeing me
Yes.
wherever. My grandmother was my booking agent. She was the pastor.
I love it. I
So
love it.
yeah, so I
Oh my
had to
goodness.
go,
I love it. Train up a child.
That's right.
I love it. Thank you very much. I'm going to put you backstage now. I'll be right back with you. Thank you, Dr. Claudia, for being here. It was such a pleasure to hear her story. It was so many layers, right? So many layers of her story, but they all led with God leading her. And that's what I love about it. It's always God said, God did, and she's giving glory to God. So that is such a blessing. So listen, subscribe to this channel. All the contact information, because I know y'all going to want to get in contact with her. All the contact information is in the show notes. I don't have much to say other than just continue to be yourself and understand that you are loved and you are highly appreciated. Shine your light no matter what. Follow in your steps, not anyone else. The steps that God has led you, you make sure you follow those steps and live your life unapologetically and shine bright like a diamond, baby. Shine bright. And just know that you are loved. Thank you for tuning in to the Sheila C Hill Show. It's time to go. Until next time, let's go. Have a good day. Bye-bye.